Hello, hello, and welcome to the Joy Link, where we're empowering, inspiring others to expand in joy. I'm your host, Brian Beebe, and we have the pleasure today to be joined by Katie Holland. Welcome, Katie. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. It's really a pleasure to be able to connect with you. And how about we can just start by you telling us a little bit about yourself, where you are, and what you're up to.
Okay. I'm originally from England, and at the moment I'm living in Egypt in Sinai and following my mermaid passions and mermaiding in the Red Sea and also following my passion with the Blue Lotus as well. And I'm a professional belly dancer, and I created a movement therapy called Awakened Bellydance. And I'm also what I think of as a energy whisperer. So I'm doing various energy work with people to support them to release at the deepest levels possible.
Yeah, it's quite profound work that you're doing. And there's lots of proof around it from the community. How we know each other is through a Steve Noble spiritual networking event.
Mhm.
And Katie needed some support with her website. So we streamlined the design and upgraded the UX and even added an appointment and event calendar so she can collect money in her sleep. And we've been in touch ever since. And so I have a really close knowledge of a bit of that community experience, right? From all the reviews that are on the website. And they're really quite deep and moving and profound. And I know my joy is increased as well by our relationship. So that's a bit of an intro for how we know each other and what you're up to. So then how would you personally define joy?
Um, this was quite a tough question, and I I really had to think on it for these last days, and and it took me into my childhood, and I was quite I guess quite a serious child. I suppose I'd be what's known as an introverted extrovert. So
Yeah, me
so
too.
dep so depending on the situation and the people that I'm with, and yeah, and I think I really felt the burdens of the world from a very, very, very young age. And I felt a lot of responsibilities for that. So I kind of had to teach myself how to feel joy and how to find the child like me that I didn't really get to experience when I was a child.
Mm.
So this was a whole process in itself of many years, and also realizing that this world that we're in isn't really set up for joy. And it's like, if you have joy, are you insane? You know,
Right. Right. It doesn't make
are we allowed?
sense.
How can you have joy with this and this and this?
Right.
And yeah, so when I realized that, and I guess I flipped it around and thought, well, actually, the more wild and spontaneous I am, the more I connect with what one of my teachers calls the undomesticated feminine. And I really love when I first heard those words, I thought, yes.
There's some freedom in there. Right.
Yeah, this is something that I can really go with. And yeah, so I I realized that the more that I could connect with this undomesticated or what might be considered as that, the more joy that I have. And this could be in any ways. The probably one of the most recent things that came to me was we had an Awakened Bellydance training in the desert recently, and we were driving through in the middle of nowhere in the Jeep, and we were hanging out of the windows, holding onto the roof rack, so kind of back bending out of the window
Right.
with this kind of really blasting out Bedouin music on, and just screaming and laughing and just like, like out of the window. And it's things like this that really bring me joy. It's like the things you're not allowed to do, you're not supposed to do, that maybe is a little bit scary to do. And I'm not an adrenaline junkie or anything in that way.
Right.
That doesn't really interest me, but I do really like these kind of I suppose the cheekiness and the naughtiness. This is what is joyful for me. That when you say, right, let's do this, like roll down a grass slope when you've just done something super serious in a workshop, and then you're like, right, come on, let's go and roll down that slope, and people look at you like, what? We're all crying here and just bearing our deepest secrets, and you want us to roll down a wet grass slope, and I'm like, come on, I'll race you. So is is this kind of thing.
Right. Okay. So it seems like it's like really a playful thing and something that you can tap into within yourself, right? That undomesticated, childlike feeling of just letting go and
Hmm.
expressing fully, right? In the moment. And just doing the things that, society would say, okay, this is that's uncivilized or something, right? That was the funniest thing. I was in a shop the other day, shopping with my son, and he was wearing his sunglasses in the shop because, I don't know. And the guy came over and said it was uncivilized to wear his sunglasses. And so we both had a good laugh. I'm like, well, then I guess keep doing it. I don't know, right? Somebody's definition, right? It's better to live life your way. That's really authentic for you than to conform to somebody else's and then make yourself smaller. That
Yeah.
that joy can really be found inside, like you said, in that playful space, right? That can shake things up and make things lighter. Okay, then what kinds of memorable moments pop up for you when you think about joy? Described a couple different ways. Are there any other moments that pop up for you?
Yeah, well, the rolling on the grass and leaning out of the Jeep both happened recently.
Right.
Um, I guess it's not only me kind of being in those experiences, it's also when I see other people, especially my students, who kind of have that realization for themselves and make those changes in their life to bring the wildness and the spontaneity and the freedom. And this as you said, the work that I'm doing is very powerful, and so I get to see this all the time and support people in this and say, come on, just do it, like screw it, and go for it. I mean, because of this, I have quite a high divorce rating in my
Oh
students.
boy.
So, and but also a lot of babies as well. It's kind of
Right. It's the
um,
extreme ends of the.
yeah, yeah, and lots of people leaving their jobs and starting new careers, following their dreams. So, and it's not that I'm saying to people, oh, you should leave your partner or you should leave your job or anything. I'm working with them, and this is then what's coming to them. And of course it's not every single person, but it is quite happening quite often. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to start a statistics thing for this.
Right.
So no, that wouldn't bring me joy doing statistics. But but um but yeah, I guess another more recent memory that is quite a big chunk of my life was during lockdown. I traveled, and again it was kind of the opposite of what others were doing. And I did get stuck at first in England for about 8 months, and then I went to Turkey for 3 months, and I studied in a cave underground with a sheikh for Sufi whirling in the Mevlana tradition.
Wow.
And this is something that's not usually allowed for women in the way that I did it. And so again, it was that kind of breaking the the rules,
Mm.
and it was, yeah, it was just unbelievable, and in what I experienced for myself, and now what I can pass on to others as well. And then that journey continued into Egypt, and I traveled to, this was early 2021, when I came to Egypt, and I traveled for 5 or 6 months around Egypt with a friend, and we were drinking the Blue Lotus, and we went to all the ancient sites, the ones that are known, the ones not so known, in the whole of Egypt. And of course, most of it was empty, although there were more people traveling than we were led to believe. But we have so many photos in places where usually there's thousands of people, and it was just us.
Wow.
And this was like unbelievable joy every day of, okay, where are we going to go today? What
Right.
secret place can we find?
Right.
And because of that, again, the local, like the guards or security, they were more open to let us spend more time in places, to dance, to meditate, to, yeah, to do things that you wouldn't usually be able to do, or to show us secret rooms and things.
Right.
So yeah, this was really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. It seemed like the whole world kind of quieted down quite a bit when everybody went, went indoors. And so the people that were daring to go outside and even keep traveling, they got a very rare look at the world, right? And those extra moments
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Yeah. Also, what you were saying about the babies and the divorce rate, right, of the people, like both of those experiences are really quite moving, right? And that connection or that link to joy really does, right? It can show you that if there is any false life or any false light that's inside of your experience, it'll really shine the spotlight of your awareness on it. Be like, oh, and then you get to make a choice. So, yeah, it's either to, yes, I want to get out of that relationship, or you know what? I want to take a deeper step and go in deeper in this relationship.
yeah,
So yeah, you know when you're really tapped into those big profound energies when that's what's happening with those connections that you're making.
yeah. And I think the trust as well, knowing how the those people have trusted me to work with me and study with me, and then that they're trusting themselves so much that they can make those steps as well.
Right.
And yeah, maybe there's somebody that they want to pursue for a relationship, and or create these relationships for themselves, and maybe with their family as well, and then seeing the joy that's brought to their lives because they've made these, what might seem like scary steps, and
Right.
jumping into the void and not having any control over it. But then what actually comes from that is, yeah, is freedom and more joy.
Right. Yeah, it's being able to actually step forward with courage in the face of fear, right?
Mm,
And really understanding, okay, if I bring the willingness, and then Katie has a way, right? If there's a will, there's a way, right? They bring the will, and then you have a way. So yeah, it's pretty amazing work, and seeing how much
thank
joy
you.
yeah, and seeing how much joy that it's really bringing out of people, because what the science tells us is that happiness is found outside. Like when we go after external things, it's like it's very fleeting. Yet joy is really found inside of us. And that's both
Yeah,
the science is telling us that now, and ancient wisdom has been telling us that for millennia. You know, it's something that we tap into, that we everybody has the capacity for. So, so yeah, it's really great to have you on and talk more
thank
about
you.
the work that you're doing. So, if there's any practical advice that you can give to anyone looking to create more joy in their life, what would that be?
Mm. I think the spontaneity of, I feel I want to do this, or I want to experience this and just do it and see what happens. And it's almost like you said, of the joy being, oh, this is me and this is the joy. But then it's all the programs and the things that we've been told that if you're too happy or you're too joyful, then something bad will happen. But what's the worst that could happen if you're actually following your heart and and that path of joy, and then that's going to expand more and more and more.
It's a bit of a riddle, or let's say a big lie, right? That, hey, if you're in joy, well, you're being oblivious to other things, right? Or something bad's going to happen to you, right? So here's something to kind of put you back in the box a little bit.
Mm,
No, no, no. I get to be expressive fully and joyful, and this is just my true nature. Could say you're spiritual bypassing, right? Because you're unaware and not facing. No, I'm just facing that with this, right?
yeah.
So,
And also what I always say to people, especially when they come for trainings, is dealing with your shit doesn't have to be miserable. So it can be really fun.
yeah,
And
freeing.
yeah, yeah, and seeing it from a different perspective and your own part in it, and oh, okay, that's what I've been doing, and then seeing that show up again and like, hey, I know your tricks. I'm not gonna
Yeah, with the
I'm
new
not gonna
awareness, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand how dance has really come into my life as something that's freeing, right? There's a lot of freedom in it. So I know one of the funniest times and most freeing times in my life was when instead of an alarm, right, I'd put on in the morning, I would put on my favorite song I like to dance to. And right, this one's just like you hear it and it's like, oh, that's my jam. And so you would get up, I would get up and just start dancing right in the first thing I did in the morning, like, oh, that's my song. Right. And so I think I did that for like 3 months, and it was the most hilarious thing ever. And just from there, you start your day with some really beautiful, beautiful energy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the power of dance that you know all about, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what the
Yeah.
community is really saying as well. Like Katie knows, so just go check her out. So yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming on. It's been a real pleasure learning a little bit more about you. And if anyone wants to connect with you, where can they find you?
If you look for anything Awakened Bellydance on different social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and then my website, thanks to Brian, is awbdance.com, and he's done an absolutely stellar job on the site. So yeah, big thanks to you for that. And then I have a monthly newsletter, so I send out information about retreats, trainings, workshops, and I'm traveling a lot, so I might be around you in the world, or if you'd like to invite me to where you are, then I'm very happy to come as well.
Right.
And also I work online.
Yeah, lots of workshops and events and in different places in the world. So you can catch up with Katie. Just get in touch, sign up for the newsletter, and then you'll be up to date.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Thanks for coming on the podcast. It was a real joy again to connect. See you next time. Thank you everybody for tuning in to the Joy Link. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.